Today, we're going to be talking about something extremely important to me, and that is building a midterm rental business with just one property. When I first started talking about midterm rentals back in 2020, I'd tell people if you don't have 5 units, you would never get noticed. I don't believe that anymore. I started my business in 2015 with one property, and that one unit gave me concept, and it actually taught me how to operate like a business. If you have just one property, you're already outpacing 93% of Americans who will never own a property they don't live in. 6.7 Americans who file taxes own a rental property. That means one. Home ownership rate in the United States is 65%, but most of those are actually people that own primary residence. So even if you own one property, you rent it out, you're already in the top tier of housing control. Like you're already far above a lot of other people. My goal for this conversation today was many people come to me and they say, hey, Jess, I got one unit. What do I do? Like, am I even going to, is this going to be helpful for me? Is this even the right thing? Can I midterm rent this? Is it even going to make sense? Yes, it actually is. So many people look at the big dogs with like 20 to 50 doors and think like, oh my gosh, I can't compete. Wrong. You're already ahead of everyone. And that property puts you in a position to actually start to build leverage, which everything in real estate starts with just one, unless your dad handed you like 50 properties. In that case, congratulations, you hit the jackpot. But for the rest of us, one is the start of the portfolio that you're going to continue to build. So this is what I want to make sure that I dive into, right? Master one thing if you guys own one property. So what I mean by that is learn your market deeply. What I see most people doing wrong when they have one property is they don't do these things here. They're not looking at their market deeply. They're not understanding consistency and occupancy patterns. They're not looking at high demand guest profiles, and they're not looking at seasonality. And you have to perfect your guest experience. So that's like communication, check-in progress, problem solving, extremely important for somebody that has 1 or even 100 doors. You have to make sure you're tracking your numbers, your nightly rate, what is your average stay, what is your actual net cash flow. And I think that's wild to think about if somebody actually owns a business that they don't know what money's coming in. So super important to actually pay attention to the P&L part of this, which is, the profit and loss statement from your units. Once you start to learn and master those key points, that's your proof of concept. And I've watched this happen with so many people where the data and the stories from one successful property unit will sell your next deals to owners, to other investors. You start to master these kinds of things, you're going to start to get better at it. You're going to start to learn things better. Everybody in here now, this is why I love these things. Meetups, please go to them because you're going to be able to find 5 allies that are in your market that have units. They want to get booked and they would love for you to be in connection with them so that you could eventually help them get their places booked. And after you get those 5 allies of 5 different people that you connect with, you have to start to realize that they're not actually competitors. They're actually collaborators who are going to help you. And this is one of the big problems I see with a lot of people that are starting off today. They will talk to a relocation company, they'll talk to a travel nursing agency, and they'll say I have one property, and they'll just keep pushing their home, my home, my home, my home, my home, my home. And they're not actually paying attention. The other thing too is when you start to connect with other people in your market, you start to bring variety into your network. And what I mean by that means people have studios. You might connect with somebody who has a studio. You might connect with somebody who has a 1-bedroom. You might connect with somebody that has a 20-plex and they have 5 of those that they're turning into midterm rentals. They're all going to be in different neighborhoods with all different zip codes. The more problems you can solve for your clients, that's the way to start to do it. Is like you're now bringing a network of people that you've connected with. There's a lot of landlords. I've heard people coin the phrase lazy landlord. I'm doing this with like air quotes because they're just listing on platforms. They're waiting to get booked. That is not what we want to do here. We want to actually build business that we can actually start to create opportunities for ourselves and start to actually send these referrals to other people, which I think is such an amazing piece of this puzzle, you guys. It truly, truly is. You have to start to think like a business owner, and that's where most people get stuck. So keep a P&L. This is super important for you guys. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to investors that I'll literally go to and be like, what's your average cash flow on your property? And they're just like deer in the headlights. They're like, what? I mean, that's the look that I get, which is freaking wild. Pay attention to that because P&L is going to keep you up to date. And as you start to bring more clients in, or you start to add more people to your co-hosting properties, or you start to add more people to your actual network of, hey, Jess, I have a property on 123 Main Street. You get it booked. I would love for you to help me do that. I'm going to be headhunting. I'm going to be going after these companies trying to find them. So P&L is going to be very, very important. Budget for marketing. This is another big piece of the puzzle. I don't think people realize when you start a business, which again, if you're just listing on a platform like Airbnb or Furnish Finder, you don't actually own a business. It's just a side hustle that's not an actual business. Business owners are thinking about P&Ls, marketing budgets. Like how much money am I going to spend? What software am I going to need to use? Do I need to get LinkedIn Pro? What does it look like for me to obviously build something like this? You have to make sure that you're thinking about those things. Also tracking leads. If you guys are connecting with somebody comes in from Furnish Finder, you talk to those unmatched leads, which is so important. If you guys aren't doing that, please do so. You can see people that are actually looking for property in your market, and you get to reach out and say, hey, I'm Jess. I am a company problem solver. My goal is to literally help companies find the right housing. I have units in our network that are able to be of service to you and your company. I would like to learn a little bit more about how you guys are operating so we can best tailor a specific property or multiple different properties to serve your nurses, your clients, your doctors. You have those lined up and you know in your head already, like, okay, cool. And I already know, like, cool, I know Ash has got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I know Priscilla's got a 4-bedroom, 5-bath. I know that they're quality people. They have good products. They have good properties. I would love to even walk that one day because I'm going to be selling that. Because keep that in mind, you guys, we're actually selling stuff when we're talking to these companies and connecting with them. If you talk to somebody on Furnish Finder, put that in a Google sheet. Talk to Miss Smith, travel nurse. Her email is 123misssmith@yahoo.com. Actually start to track these folks so that you have a Rolodex of emails that you can actually start to connect with people. Even if they're there already, folks that connect with you on Airbnb, start asking questions to start getting information about who the companies are they work with, what they do, why they're on assignment, where are they going next. You guys can do all that. You can start to track those lead sources. And you can also do that in free Facebook groups, right? We've seen it all before where people will have Facebook groups where be traveling nurses or, relocation or something like that. And you can go in there and start to message people and connect with them. You have to track those. That's what a business owner does. You need to track how many people are coming in, how many emails. Emails are going to be very, very important as you continue to build this part of the business. You get an email from me, from my newsletter, like, hey, this is what I have going on. And what I'm trying to say is that in the same way that I market to you guys, that you guys are connecting, you're doing that exact same thing with every single person you're talking to, with every company you're talking to. And there are 2 separate buckets on how you actually connect with them. And the more people that you connect with, the likelihood of having a conversion, which is a sale, continues to go up. As a business owner, you have to start to think about the buckets of types of clients you have, how they're operating, where they're at, how they connect. And if you just think about just those 7 touch points that you need to have before somebody buys something from you, which could be staying at your property or sending you a referral or using you for the first time, 7 touch points. That's the average. So if you guys aren't reaching out to people right now, very, very important. You have to be doing that 7 times. Something's got to go through. It doesn't matter if they don't respond to you. That's the part of marketing. As long as you're not bothering people and you're coming in with value, super important, right? And always be thinking about a sales pipeline. This is important, that everything you do today is going to pay you back in the next 3 months. And so many people are waiting to get paid today because they send an email, they talk to somebody on the phone. The likelihood of that happening right away is very small. But the likelihood of you continuing to do this for the next 90 days, sending out an email every single week, and we go back to 7 touch points, the likelihood of you getting something that converts in 3 months from now is high. The other piece of this puzzle is always be thinking about operations and systems and client retention, like people that you talk to now, that you connect with, that are staying at your property now. Where are they going to be going next? Are they going to somewhere in Florida? This is the beautiful thing about being on Facebook and having groups like this. I can say, hey, I just connected with somebody. They've stayed at my property for the last 3 months. They're going to be going to Florida in Saratoga. Who's got property out there that I can refer them to? I want to keep ownership of this company. I'm going to keep my connection with them, but I just need somebody that has houses that I can send this to, or apartments or whatever it is, that this is the rate they're looking at. And I would love to get a referral fee for doing that. You have to be thinking about those things. That's part of the client retention. That's part of operational systems. Piece of this puzzle too is be a connector, not just an owner. And one of the things that I teach the most about in AirVenture Academy, which if you guys aren't aware of this, AirVenture Academy is an academy that I put together for people that are just like you right now, that have 1 to 20 to 30 to 40 bunch of units. But I teach people how to go after these companies, how to start to build scale systems, how to put together, the pitch decks and the templates, and how to actually start to operate like a business owner. And the thing with midterm rentals, it's easy to fall into. It's an easy thing to do, but to treat it like a business is a whole other thing. And thankfully enough, I've been around so many other operators who have joined this program, which we have over 600 people that are in it now. And every single person that wins has this one trait in common. They're a connector. They're not just an owner. So they actually use their network to place guests in other properties that they don't own. I want to learn how to be a connector, almost like a wholesaler. You're just like connecting person A to person B. You're now putting yourself in a position to be a housing solution provider and not just a host. And I used to hate when people were like, go network, go do this, go do that. But what I realized is networking teaches you sales and negotiation. You're able to connect with other people where they're just like, hey, my property is $3,000 a month. Well, this client that I'm getting, their budget is $3,500. Is there any way you can negotiate these rates down? Is there any way you can work together? Like, I will start to send you more clients, but I need you to start to bend these rules a little bit. What's your lowest price point that you can go to? And you start to actually like negotiate the deal flow with the landlord of these people that are, your allies that are in your market. There's a big muscle that comes from that. And I can't tell you that the more that you use it, the better you're going to get at negotiating your price. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want a more detailed, customized strategy for your rental business, head over to www.mtrstrategy.com.